Thanks for joining us for another Kickstarter conniption. Today we're looking at Tutankhamun from 25th Century Games.
As always, we want to make sure you're aware that our Kickstarter conniption videos are sponsored in part by our Kickstarter backers and by the creators of this game. Hey guys, and thanks for joining us at Tantrum House Studio 3. I'm Will Meadows.
And I'm Sara Meadows, and today we're previewing the game Tutankhamun from 25th Century Games. This is from designer Reiner Knizia, art is from Jackie Davis, and graphic design by Matt Paquette.
This is a 2 to 6 player strategic movement set collection game that takes 15 to 30 minutes to play. We were able to get our hands on a prototype copy, so let's take a look at how it's played.
To set up the game, place King Tut's sarcophagus in the middle of the box and place the 2 guardian statues on the underworld mat.
Shuffle the tiles and randomly make a winding path to form the Nile.
Give each player their boat and place their canopic jar on the starting space for your player count, and then you're ready to begin.
On your turn, you will sail your boat down the Nile River as many spaces as you'd like and pick up the tile that you land on.
If it happens to be an Egyptian god, place it in the tomb and resolve its effects, which can be things like swapping 2 tiles in front of you or collecting a tile from the underworld.
If the tile is an artifact, add it to your collection. If it is the last of its type, it is scored. The player with the most of that type gets to spend the amount shown, and second place spends half.
Any tiles that are skipped over by all the players are moved to the underworld, and if they are the last tile in a set, they are scored and moved to the tomb.
Play continues with everyone moving their boat downstream collecting artifacts. The player who first spends all of their gold wins.
The great Tutankhamun has died, and we are tasked with filling his burial chamber with amazing artifacts.
So we're going to be traveling down the river, meaning we can't go back, we can only push forward. We'll be collecting valuable tiles and sets of those as we move down the river, and hoping our goal is to spend all of our money as possible. Everyone starts the game with the same amount of coin, and then you'll be spending that gold throughout the course of the game. The first person to spend all of it will win the game. If everyone makes it all the way down the river with their boats, then whoever has spent the most at the end of the game will be the winner.
Yes, you're trying to collect those artifacts. There are several different sets, and as soon as all of that type has been taken out of the Nile, then it is scored. If you have the most, you'll gain the full amount. So if you are scoring a 4 tile, you will gain the 4 points. If you are second most, you will gain half. If there's a tie, whoever is farthest down the river will gain the full amount of points. So sometimes that's important to not be trailing behind, picking up what everybody else has left behind.
Yeah, your strategies in the game are going to change a pretty fair amount based on your player count. When you've got a higher player count, it kind of seems like it's best to just get as much goods as you can, because you don't want to pass up something by going too far down the river. You want to add it to your collection so that you can hopefully get that first or second place. When you've got a 2-player game going on, though, you can very much look down the river and kind of see which pieces you might be able to score early, which ones you are going to be able to get a hold of. Those god tokens make it really interesting because they allow you to swap the locations of tiles or grab things that you've passed up. So there's a lot of strategy that can go into just a simple push your boat down the river type of game.
Yes, this was a former Spiel des Jahres winner back in 1993, and Chad and 25th Century Games has brought this back to Kickstarter in this new updated version. It has the same gameplay mechanics and everything, but it does have updated artwork from Jackie Davis and Matt Paquette, and then it also has a streamlined rule set, makes it a little bit easier to pick up and learn.
I didn't realize how in desperate need the original game was of a reskin. This really adds some punch to the table. Those little whatever shape that is, cornerstone shapes, fit together so great to make that winding river. It's got a nice little table presence to it. Being able to keep score around the box and having the sarcophagus in there is pretty slick. Be sure to check out their Kickstarter campaign to see what kind of stretch goals and things they might have that would even improve those components. Some of the other neat things that are going on in the game are those scarab rings.
Yeah, those are scored differently than all the other sets. So as soon as you gain one of those scarab rings, it's worth 1 gold. So you'll spend 1 gold on the score track. And then there are God tokens that allow you to swap those out for other tokens anywhere else on the board. So sometimes they're pretty valuable to have, even though they only give you, you only get to spend the 1 gold for them. Also, once they're all up, you can get a 5-point bonus for having the most.
Yeah, so lots of fun stuff going on. Very family-friendly approach to this game. Really neat stuff on the table. If you're interested in Tutankhamun, check it out on Kickstarter now. And then, as always, thanks so much for liking, subscribing, and following along here at Tantrum House. Thundery plague out there.
This is from designer Reiner Knizia, and it's designed... No.
By Reiner Knizia.
Artwork is by Jackie Davis. The great King Tutankhamun has died, and we are tasked, we are honored to